Good afternoon. Warbles on a lot to YouTube here, and I'm wearing the head camera again. And as you can see, I catch my own rainwater and I store it. And this is the drinking water drum, which I've never actually run out of in 20 years. And that receives water from one side of the roof. But there's another side to this self-sufficiency in the forest story. It's what do you do with your sewage, right? Now, here we have my solution, which is the Hillbilly method of biological control against rabbits. As you can see, I've already emptied the toilet bucket and got it ready to put it into a rabbit's burrow. Now, it doesn't completely reduce the rabbits to nothing, but for as far as I can carry a bucket of human sewage, it removes the rabbits from my environment, and owing to salad sandwiches, it means that I get feral tomatoes coming up where the rabbit burrows used to be. And of course, they do like to reoccupy the territory. So sometimes I have to go and refill burrows for them. That's what we're going to do today. To be honest, I probably should have emptied this a week ago because it's really heavy. On the other hand, it's a pretty big rabbit burrow, this one. And there we go. Bunnius rabbitus, the feral that is not allowed in Australia. See? And of course I'll come back after rinsing it out. But in the meantime, this is the shit pot stirring stick with its turned handle. I'll just push all that down there. It's quite maggot free actually, owing to the fact that I use about a soup can full of ashes from the fire. On top of every deposit into the toilet. So that kind of keeps the smell down. It means you've got buffered compost going into the ground. There's that little triangle of never slashed control area vegetation, still showing up as brown and not as alive as everywhere else. Anyway, that's one family of bunny rabbits who won't be chewing up me wild native parsnips. And compared to the cost and the expense of trying to mess around with some kind of a septic system, I think this is just so much more efficient. It discharges my responsibility as a landholder to do something against the rabbits. This is a gravity fed hose coming off the machinery shed roof. I did replace the rubber bands on the camera. So ideally it won't be bouncing around as much as it was last time I made a head camera movie. Right. So this is a really low water solution, developed during the drought of course, because we've had a lot of them since I've had this place. The reason I have to wedge the hose is because it got a little bit close to the water heater, which is in deep need of chimney repairs at the moment. We had a strong wind and that cobbled together job had lasted for probably 5 years. So now we go back to the rabbit burrow with our rinse water, just to make sure that the turds go all the way down there. Some people might think this is cruel, but considering that what the surrounding rednecks do is they use a thing called a bunny blaster, and they go and discover a warren, they stop up the holes, they put a hose down there and they inject LP gas. The LP gas is heavier than air, so it sinks to the very bottom of the burrow, and then they fire a spark in there, and their official story is that the combustion exhausts the oxygen in the burrow and therefore the rabbits are asphyxiated. But anybody with any knowledge of fuel air explosives and enclosed spaces is pretty certain that the rabbits get killed by the flame and the concussion. But it's a good story. The other options are a virus, which sends them blind, or poisons like 1080. There we go, see? And now we use the dirt that the rabbits have excavated to cover it over, so that you don't get any blowflies, right? Because I'm not interested in having blowflies feed on human turds and then maybe come and sit on my breadboard. And as you can see, feral tomatoes, right? In the ongoing war between the green extremist hillbillies and the feral rabbits that were let loose by the English when they came here so that they could engage in a little spot of hunting on the weekend. Cultural imperialism, they called it. Biological cultural imperialism. Terribly arrogant and hubristic, those Euro peons. So, I'm pretty sure I might even have enough time on the camera to show you the final step in this regular procedure. As the reason all that turds came out of the bucket so easily is because I put a layer of sawdust in the bottom of the bucket, and that stops the shit from sticking to the bucket. And where do we get the sawdust? Well, right here at the chopping block, where heavy rain has formed rills as the forest floor reconfigures itself spontaneously within the first 5 minutes of a downpour to create contour water traps. It's really amazing the way hydraulics can do that. Your forest floor goes from absolutely random, no need for that stick to be in there, it can go over there. Right, so there we have that ready for about another fortnight or 3 weeks of me on my own. Week to a fortnight if I have the kids coming up for a visit, and then of course it would be time to wash one's hands, having been touching human turds. Okay, and with a little bit of luck, that's going to be underneath for 15 minutes and I can upload it. If not, I've just waffled on way too long. But I ain't going to touch the camera until I've dried my hands, because I don't want to bust the camera. And of course the ultraviolet from the sun sterilises the towel and the rain washes it out.